Hello, I'm Tatami. Welcome to my channel. Here I talk about whatever I want to and hope that it finds whoever cares. Today I was thinking about how it's still so socially acceptable to distrust and associate evil with African traditional religions. And it's okay to be aggressive with people who practice these religions. It's fine to, clutch your children tighter if you see somebody who says that they practice voodoo. And in fact, all of the weird revenge, get back at people, scary type bullshit is often associated with African traditional religions as well today, right? It's considered fine to, you want to get back in an ex. What do you turn to? For whatever reason, you don't stay with the tried and true, one true religion that you so tout to the world. They turn to voodoo dolls and juju and the magic woman and the cards and all of these other things. And so it's become okay to associate these religions with this. It's okay to degrade them. It's okay to be aggressive to people who practice them. It's okay to, disrespect these people. It's okay to, disassociate with them, discriminate against people who practice these indigenous and tribal practices and religions. And, some are relegated as a joke. Some indigenous customs are relegated as kind of, jokes or basic ass customs that anybody can understand. Or, oh, I have a spider just crawling across my bed. A little spider. I'll see where he goes. I'm curious. He's already made it. Already made it off the edge if he's made it this far. Anyways, listen to the spiders. I just read that in a book I was reading recently. It said, listen to the spiders. I'm gonna try and listen to the spiders more often. At any rate, yeah, I don't even remember what I was saying before I saw the spiders. So, but my point was that it's very normalized. It's very normalized to, I was talking about the dream catchers, or I was going to say dream catchers, those types of things, items that it's been basically watered down to such a tiny extent that it's like, oh, anybody understands this. And if you talk to a native person, they're like, this is actually a lot more complex. There's actually a lot more layers to this, right? It's not just this basic thing that you can just buy at a store and it works and it's for everybody. It's not a free-for-all, unlike a lot of Christian things, right? A lot of Christian things are kind of free-for-all. A lot of their doctrine, a lot of the way they operate, anybody can be forgiven, any crime can be forgiven, anybody can get their hands on a Bible, anybody can open up a church. Basically, it's a free-for-all out there, and it operates in that bigger type of operation, I guess. It's the only way to describe it. And so, that kind of gets thrown onto indigenous customs. And so anybody can grab a voodoo doll. Our ancestors kind of become slaves in the afterlife to the whims of bloodline people who just kind of, they're looking for some kind of fix in their life. So instead of turning to their own family, their own power, their own ancestors, they think it's wise to turn to somebody else's, somebody black more often than not, but in native, indigenous. But, that's not to say that all cultures are disrespected in this way. I think some have semblances of respect. For example, Asian cultures have, because of the oldness perceived in them, even though a lot of African customs are older, there's just that ancient, perception that's associated with Chinese and even Indian religions and customs, that even though they also practice ancestral venerations, theirs are typically, seen as, they're as a little more positive. I would say, like, it definitely, the perception is seen as very beautiful, sacred. Their ancestral shrines are just seen in a very different light. And ours are associated with evil consistently. And this association with the devil, with the evil, always the devil. Even though there's no devil in, African traditional religious practices, there's no one all. And in fact, most indigenous, so far as I've been researching in a lot of different people of color's cultures, there's nobody else really seems to have this all evil person who can kind of be blamed, who just so goes against the order of things so that they will just always do the worst thing possible at all times. You can count on it. Nobody else has that. Like, really, just kind of certain parts of, like, Christianity have that, like, Abrahamic religions have that. Nobody else really has that. And yet we get burdened with it. We get burdened with the concept. We get burdened with the ideas. We get burdened with, people's perceptions and hatred of, which is ultimately anti-Blackness, right? Which is just miseducation, anti-Blackness, it comes down to a lack of education, and yet it's something that we're expected to, listen to, and not defend ourselves, because even if we defend ourselves, it's going to come down to just being disrespected. Like I said, it's nothing more disrespectful than you talking about trying to explain basic, tenets of African traditional religion, and somebody interrupting with, like, well, it's probably a demon. Well, it's probably the devil. Well, I'll pray for you. Oh, well, I hope you come back. Well, I've dabbled in tarot cards myself, and I didn't find the answers. So therefore, the answer is really Jesus. Well, I've Africanized, there's always so many excuses for Christianity. And it's one thing that I could never really, accept was just how bold people get with these excuses. And, I've just noticed that it's like, I wanted to note that it's still scary out there. That was kind of my point with this video, was there's still aggression out there. People are still going to, kick you out of a home, not hire you, be worried about you. Even as this rises, I expect Christians to get more hostile, kind of the same way, whenever Black people or people of color get more rights, white people you can expect it to get a little more hostile first. You can expect it to get a little more scary first. More people die first. More of them lash out first before it calms down. I can just see that happening with Christianity, because I feel like a lot of Christians, that's a lot of that war on Christianity that they're perceiving occurring to them, is actually just them losing numbers. And it's scary. It's scary because they can't compete. It's scary because, a lot of people are recognizing they do have a choice, and that they are able to reach out to people who are normalizing it, who are absolutely, ready to reclaim African traditional religion, ready to reclaim their ancestral ways and make it into something new for the future. So at any rate, I think that that's basically where they're already been dangerous, but I think that they're going to be more dangerous. There's going to be more mocking of us, but I think there's a real sense of anger that Christians have displayed many times over the centuries that I don't believe will be any exception. And like I said, they love to give excuses. Oh, that person's not a real Christian. That person's, oh, I know the real Christians. But somehow, all like over and over again, people misinterpreting the doctrine. And it leads to this kind of aggression. And I sense it. And I've gotten it from people before due to this. And so until you can look someone in the eye and, you know, as a black person, as an actual black person with black lineage, and say you practice voodoo, you practice some African traditional religion, and people don't see you negatively about it, people aren't scared to leave their kids with you now, or misjudging what you do or how you act, or thinking you're cursing them or whatever, all the negative associations. I think, you know, everybody else, you know, there's a lot of perception that there's only certain religions that are getting oppressed, but I think there's a level of oppression with African traditional religions that just isn't really addressed, and it's just kind of ignored and shoved under the rug, but it exists, and it's something that actually affects our daily lives still to this day. Anyway, let me know your thoughts. Have you ever experienced something like this or thought about it in any way? The unique oppression that African traditional religion experiences today.